2 weeks ago began, sourcing for holiday. And one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen or I see brands make when it comes to creator content during Q4 is source against holiday content. It is, in my opinion, one of the biggest wastes of that budget.
This episode of the e-commerce playbook is brought to you by Omnisend. If you're serious about growing your brand through email and SMS marketing, Omnisend has your back. It combines powerful automation, smart segmentation, and real-time performance insights, all on a platform that's intuitive and built specifically for e-commerce. With pre-built workflows, dynamic sign-up forms, and full multi-channel capabilities, Omnisend helps brands scale without unnecessary complexity. Join over 150,000 e-commerce marketers who rely on Omnisend every day. Head to omnisend.com/CTC and start on the free plan today. That's omnisend.com/CTC. Hey everyone, welcome to the e-commerce playbook podcast. I'm your host, Richard Gaffin, Director of Digital Product Strategy here at Common Thread Collective. And I'm joined once again, I think it's been probably a couple months since the last time we spoke, but Adrianne, our Director of Creator Content here at Common Thread Collective. Luke is her brother. This is how I like to frame it rather than the other way around. So Adrianne is joining us because this is obviously Q4 is upon us, an incredibly important time for everything, but particularly thinking about creator content, how you're sourcing creator content, how you're using UGC to build the right set of ads for this period of time. So Adrianne, why don't you talk to us just a little bit about, kind of what you and your team are doing right now, and then we'll kind of roll into how our listeners should be thinking about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Richard, for having me again. Stoked to be here. And to be even more specific, Luke is my little brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So what my team and I are in the midst of at this time are sourcing creators for November and December for our clients, right? So creative pipeline like about 4 weeks. So you write the brief, you ship the product, you get the video back, you make it into variations. Like you're looking at, 4 to 5 weeks per batch of videos that you get from any creator brief that you write. So we 2 weeks ago began, sourcing for holiday. And one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen or I see brands make when it comes to creator content during Q4 is source against holiday content. It is, in my opinion, one of the biggest wastes of that budget, given the fact that the holiday content is temporary. Oftentimes it can only run for, at most a few weeks if you're running your offer over a few week period, or maybe even just for the weekend. And when your creator brief focuses on a specific offer or a specific sale, or even a set of products that are only relevant to holiday, you are not going to, ultimately the juice is just not worth the squeeze.
No.
Right. And so in doing that and diverting their creator content pipeline to holiday products, they also meanwhile choke their evergreen pipeline. And then they come out of December with no evergreen ads. And they're kind of scrounging around for like, okay, how do we get enough ads to fuel our January spend? And so ensuring that you have evergreen and holiday variations of that creator content going into Q4 is super important so that you're not having to turn off ads during Q4 when that's the last thing you want to be doing, or giving your buyers a set of ads that have such a limited runtime. And with creator content specifically, there's so many submission dependencies. Did the creator film on time? Did they submit on time? Did they make the deadline? And so you're actually just kind of relying on that. And so if they submit a week early and it was offer-based, then you're up the creek without a paddle, right? So yeah, what I want to walk through today is our exact strategy for sourcing holiday creators, a checklist of like what the common themes are right now in creator content, and making sure that your brief reflects that. 2 examples of briefs that we wrote for a client, including an evergreen brief and a holiday brief for Q4, and the ways that those differ, and the ways that we're ensuring we get runtime out of each. And then finally, the brief output. So for this specific brief, the types of videos that we get back and how we turn those into variations for the ad account, whether it's Meta, Pinterest, TikTok, Snapchat, AppLovin, YouTube Shorts, right? These are 9:16 videos. They're meant to be cropped in Meta to 4:5 to serve to feed, but then they can also serve on all of those other paid social platforms and really be omni-channel assets. So let me walk you through what I have.
Let's jump into it. So yeah, Adrianne will be sharing her screen. So for those watching, obviously watch along, but we'll do our best to sort of describe what we're looking at if there's any visual that's particularly relevant for our audio listeners too.
Awesome. Thanks, Richard. All right, cool. Let's do it. So these are the themes that we're seeing in top performers in 2025. They check all of these boxes in one way or another. So number one, top performers of creator content are a mix of voiceover, talking to camera, and music. So variations on these matter. We're not necessarily seeing voiceover outperform music only videos. We're not seeing talking to camera outperform voiceover videos. Our briefs request a variation or a wide pool of content so that we can feed ad accounts with all types of creator ads. Okay, and then number two is always adding headlines and captions to your creator reels. And I'll go through specifically what we're requesting so that you have full kind of freedom in using the asset that they submit to you. Ideally, your video that you're sourcing for focuses on a single product and drives to the PDP. Those by far outperform ads that talk about multiple products or a collection or a bundle, and you're driving to a bundle PDP. It's the single product straight to PDP videos that perform best for creators. It gives them something streamlined to talk about. Otherwise they tend to be all over the place, and really then you as the advertiser can also control the volume and the incremental revenue that gets put behind that single product. When it's bundle focused or multiple product focused, you know, you have issues where maybe one of those sells out and then the ad has to get turned off, or maybe the bundle changes and then you're not able to run that anymore. And so the single product, ensuring that you have obviously solid inventory behind that product and give the creator very clear directions on how to speak to it, allows for the highest converting kind of pathway. Using native to feed captions, fonts, colors, emojis, and not branded elements, like these should look and feel very different from your branded videos. That's the entire point in having a pipeline of creator ads, right? So making sure that those are CapCut fonts or TikTok fonts or Instagram fonts, and not using branded fonts or captions or end cards even. Just don't think it's needed. And then, okay, so in terms of what you're asking the creator for, always requesting unlimited access for a one-time payment for a single reel. So you're asking them for a 30-second voiceover video, asking them for unlimited access to use that video, and paying them one time for that video. And then after you test that video, if that creator's video performs well and you want to discuss whitelisting usage on top of that, negotiate it separately. I see brands make mistakes where they negotiate these large contracts with creators and say, hey, like, we never worked with you before, but we want videos from you and we want a whitelist. It's like, you don't know if that whitelisting investment is going to be worth it. So ask them for a video, test the video, and then move forward from there once you see, number one, the quality of their video, if they were able to follow the brief, and, number two, if it feels worth adding whitelisting to their agreement moving forward. On top of the voiceover reel, ask for one still from your creator in your brief. Then have your editing team turn that into at least 3 additional video variations, and then a couple of still ads with different ad types, intro clips, and headlines, etc. So basically, what you're doing is you're taking that one voiceover, and then your editing team turns it into maybe one music only variation with a different intro clip, maybe one variation with a different intro clip. The voiceover is swapped around, so it starts with a different line. All of those should have different headlines. And then same with the still images. You can take their iPhone still image, which is one of the most underrated ad types.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll show you an example shortly here, but be requesting both of those, not just the video content. Were you going to ask a question?
Oh, no, we can jump into it when you show the example. Cause I was just going to ask what the one still would be,
Yeah,
but
totally.
We can go ahead and that later. Still juggling multiple tools for email, SMS, and push marketing? Omnisend brings them all together in one powerful platform built for e-commerce. You can launch pre-built automation workflows, build audience segments based on shopping behavior, and even gamify your sign-up forms without spending weeks learning the tool. It just works, and it's built to scale with you. Every account starts on a free plan, and unlike other platforms, Omnisend gives you 24/7 human support, no matter your tier. Check it out at omnisend.com/CTC or click the link in the description.
Okay, cool. And then always use these to test on all your potential paid social channels. So getting the most out of these assets, considering that they're typically your most expensive asset type, right? They cost more than branded stills or branded videos because you have to pay the creator. So use these on any channels you possibly can. We've seen these types of ads perform not just on Meta, but YouTube Shorts, Pinterest, Snapchat, AppLovin. And you'll be surprised at how those can perform. So use them to fuel pipelines from multiple channels. And then finally, use the learnings on these ads to consistently update the brief with new hooks, headlines, and angles. So, every 30 days or so, hop into your ad account and check out what's working from recent creator content, and then update your brief with the most relevant and up-to-date learnings. That way your content pipeline is constantly improving, and creators are leaning into the angles that are actually working in the ad account.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like kind of like in summary, at least for maybe like the first 4 or 5 here, it is a little bit of a keep it simple, stupid thing of
Yeah.
just don't don't get too complicated. Don't overbrand it. I like requesting unlimited access for one-time payment rather than negotiating a really complicated contract. It's just about making, because it's obviously I think for a lot of people who work with creators, the process of submission and going back and forth with them can be kind of complex and difficult, and wires get crossed, whatever. So it feels like a lot of these are also about simplifying that process as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's keep rolling and let's have a look at the brief here.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm going to use a real client example. So for Ondo Socks, we're sourcing against 2 briefs for holiday. Core reason is we're not wanting to choke their evergreen pipeline. This brief on the left, the Ondo No-Show Socks 30-second Instagram reel brief, fills their content pipeline for that SKU, which is a top SKU, and it's an always-on SKU, right? And then the additional holiday brief is requesting a new type of video from them for a holiday offer that is going to run for 2 months. So, that warrants content for that specific offer. They have plenty of inventory in this free gift. It's going to be on for a while. And the sourcing timeline worked in a way where, because we started sourcing last week, we will have the content ready by November. So these 2 briefs exist in the world, and we're filling both pipelines as we speak, right? And so if you have the deck that I'm referencing, these actually link out to the brief themselves if you wanted to make a copy and use this format. But really, just the download of these briefs is they all follow a really similar structure. It's order your product. Here's what we're looking for. Here's some examples. Here's the target audience. Here's a little bit about the product. Here are the B-roll clips to capture. Here's some clear do's and don'ts. And then finally, here's your submission checklist and some hook ideas. So the format is really straightforward. It's not a overcomplicated deck. I see a lot of creator decks that get sent around with imagery, videos, and they're very involved and beautiful. And I don't doubt that a lot of thought went into the way that those are created. But kind of this easy to follow Google Doc format with certain words bolded, emojis to break up the text and make it very readable is what works best for us. And, your creator, the more complicated your creator request brief looks, I think the more often you're going to get, no, thank you. I can't, I don't have capacity there for this, or, this is just really approachable. And I think that's what makes it so successful.
Yeah. I was going to say, once upon a time in a previous job, I had a coworker who was this 90-year-old World War II vet. And it was kind of we were working on a shop floor, doing carpentry, stuff like that. And his number one rule for instructions was make it dummy proof, basically. Make it so any old idiot can read it. And the idea is not that you're approaching this all content creators are dumb or something like that, or anybody's dumb, really.
No.
It's just that you make it as simple as possible so that even a child could understand. And that's the basic kind of table stakes for making it possible for people to produce what you want them to produce. I think this does that well.
Yeah, exactly. You're so right. So basically what you're saying, Richard, is I could pass you this and you can make me a sock video, right?
And even I could make you probably a decent sock video. It is. I wouldn't put it past myself to screw this up anyway, but I think this would, probably give me the best shot. We will see. One thing I was going to note too is the holiday offer piece, to your point earlier, is basically you're getting the evergreen piece, but then you're also highlighting the offer as well. So it's not like you're not doing that. But as long as you're getting something that's usable long-term from the exchange with the creator, then you're fine. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You said it better than I could have.
Great.
Okay. So these 3 videos in one still were submitted from the Ondo Evergreen brief in, last batch or a couple batches ago. I use it as an example because the still on the far right is a top performing ad. It's
Hmm.
number 2 in the ad account next to
Interesting.
a branded still. So it's received a majority of the spend in the last 90 days and has an incredible amount of social proof and comments and is running above ROAS target. So we paid this creator for the video and we paid him for one still included in that. And then we turned it into 3 video variations and one still ad. And the still ad is crushing. Now, that's not always the case, but that's why I emphasize requesting both. And then what you can see here is each of these ads were reformatted, or his video was reformatted into different intro clips, different headlines, and all have captions, and then the native to feed kind of Instagram's headline at the top.
Hmm.
Only no shows I trust with my sneakers. The only no shows I trust with my sneakers. That headline was used twice, so on one video and one still, which often is great because then you're not putting too many variations out into the world, right? You're like, okay,
Hmm.
well, the format is different. The video and still in and of themselves are different. So I'm going to use the same headline on them so that if one wins, I know what the component is that actually is making it perform. And in this
Right.
case, it's the still image that's making it perform.
Can, well, I was just to say, can we watch like
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, the first 5 seconds of maybe 2 of them so you can compare what the
Yeah.
2 different cuts look like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Those socks that actually stay clipped. Day-to-day life is challenging enough. Finding the right sock shouldn't be that hard. Meet Ondo. With a
Okay,
seamless
so that one starts out with him putting it on his foot and then goes straight into the sock drawer where he grabs Ondo. And I think his voiceover starts with day to day life should day to day life is hard enough. Finding the right sock shouldn't be. I'm laughing
There
as
you
I
go.
say it because it's just so funny. By the way, we don't write creator scripts for them.
Yeah.
We give them headline like starters and inspo on the brief, like I just referenced, but we don't write their scripts.
Hmm. All right, let's see this.
organic cotton no-show socks that
And then
actually
this
stay
one
clipped.
starts with grabbing it from the drawer.
So
And
just to kind of paint a picture, it's like when you grab the Ondo sock, it's also like they're sort of looks like they're kind of laid flat on almost like a piece of cardboard or something like that. So it
Mhm,
demonstrates that it's like easy to put them into the drawer. But then
mhm.
also the sock kind of looks like Tom's, basically, like a
Yeah, I'm
Tom, if
wearing
you
them.
will, but as a sock. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm literally wearing them right now. I actually wear them every day. I it's gonna sound so crafted. I
Sure.
literally do wear these every day, and I love them. They don't slip at all. They have this, like, really minimal silicone kind of border
Hmm.
around the top that just, like, keeps it right on your foot. They never ride down in sneakers, and they don't irritate my feet at all with the silicone, which I was kind of shocked by too. So, yeah, they're legit.
So of those
You
two that we
heard it
just
here.
watched, which one was the winner?
Actually, I don't know off the top of my head. I just know in this batch, the still
It's
was the
the
winner.
still was the winner. Okay.
Mhm.
So that kind of
Yeah.
brings me to my next question, which you already hinted at, which is how much creative direction is being given to these creators. So obviously you say you don't write a script. And then
Yeah.
the question was specific to the still, because obviously you asked for one still. Well, what would
Yeah.
that still be? Did you give this guy the idea for this or not?
No. No, we didn't,
Awesome.
but now we're
Yeah.
now we're using it to give other
Yeah.
people ideas. We're like, "Take a still like this," you know? So we're
Hmm.
requesting more images like this now because we have such a good solid learning. But the first batch that we sourced for this client, we didn't give them any still direction. And we got a myriad of stills and people holding the sock up to their face and like, like this.
Hmm.
Some people putting it like showing like putting it on, some people like tugging at it against their foot and showing how
Hmm.
it stays on. The photos we got were just all completely different.
Hmm.
Um, this one by far outperformed the videos
Yeah.
in this batch.
Well, it's
That's
interesting.
really not
When
always the case. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was going to say it's an interesting demonstration of something that Taylor and I have talked about, Luke and I have talked about on this podcast, which is the idea that like the way to get creative diversity is to outsource creative to a lot of different people. And
yes.
also like the idea that you're getting a ton of different people's minds on the sort of advertising problem here, which is how do you demonstrate
Hmm.
how these socks work? And
Yeah.
this guy thought up this idea just to kind of explain what this still looks like on
Yeah.
it's his right and left, or his feet are kind of together. It looks like almost he's like sitting cross-legged or like in the lotus position or whatever, where his like feet are
Yeah.
together, and then he has a shoe on his left foot, and then he has just the Ondo sock on his right foot. So you can kind of see pretty clearly like what the fit is. Um,
Yes.
And again, it's like, that's not something that you briefed out. Like, this is the image we want to see. It's just something that he came up with. And it turns out that it's like super, super successful. So yeah, it's an interesting way to just like a lot of brains on one problem comes up with the solution, I feel like.
Yeah. And who better to come up with the idea than your actual customer, like someone who's trying on the
Exactly.
product. Like they might not have known of Ondo before. We're not sourcing creators from existing customers, but in sending them the product, and then, we request a 2-week turnaround time from the day their product
Mhm.
arrives at their door. So it gives them time to try it out. And like, yeah, this sort of problem solution angle was entirely his mind.
Yeah, I love that.
And to your point, Richard, like the majority of our most sophisticated and like highest caliber clients have multiple creative vendors.
Mhm.
So, in-house production, maybe an external production partner for branded ads, in-house sourcing for creators, and an external creator sourcing partner. Like that's what's going to get you true diversity versus just kind of, trying to be diverse with one single vendor.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. One thing that I was going to say too is that this method like gets you outside of the problem of like you on the marketing team being way too close to your product. And so like you have this idea of like, oh, here's the features and benefits. This is what people really care about. But you don't really have the perspective of somebody who's just seen the product for the first time.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're creating a situation where you're getting a bunch of creators to make ads for you that are seeing and experiencing the product as if they were customers for the first time, which is
Right.
genius. Makes all the difference. But
Yeah, it's so fun. Like we have a supplement client that, typically you'll mix it's a powder. So typically
mhm,
customers or even on the website, we communicate like, please mix this in with water or seltzer water or a smoothie, something
mhm.
liquid. A creator just decided that she wanted to mix it in her yogurt in the morning
Oh yeah.
and put granola on top. And I don't know, like we would have never told her that.
Mhm,
That ad crushed. Like it did so well. It gave people another use case that like if they don't, it's they're picky in terms of the way they take their supplements and kind of want to mask the taste a little bit. It gave them an immediate idea of like, oh, I could take this supplement that's potentially like not the best, you know, texture or whatever else, whatever
mhm.
their concerns were in buying it in the first place, for whatever reason, that yogurt mixing B-roll at the beginning got them thinking about a way that they could use it in their life.
Mhm. That makes sense. Let's yeah, okay, let's maybe jump to the next part
Cool.
unless there's something else you want to hit on this.
No, this is it. So, yeah, so just to close out, like I said, even with your evergreen content that you're sourcing through Q4, it's important that some of those variations have holiday messaging on them, but don't have holiday offers on them. So you don't want to say up to 50% off site wide on your creator ads because then those have to get turned off. But what you can do is create one or two variations from each creator video that they submit and use a holiday headline.
Mhm,
So in this case for Ondo, throughout Q4, every video that a creator submits will be doing 2 evergreen headlines and then 1 holiday headline so that we have a rotation of all of those. And to prepare our editing pipeline for that, we've already written, brainstormed, and gotten these
mm,
holiday headlines approved by the client so that as soon as creators start submitting their November videos, which is like this week and next week, we can start adding these headlines to them. The gift they'll forget they're wearing but love, 4 pairs, 1 pack, no slip, holiday magic. Normal socks in their stocking? Didn't think so. This is your sign to gift Ondo's best-selling no-shows. There's about 6 here, all really strong and gifting focused or seasonal focus, but not calling out the sale or offer.
and so with these two, just you're sending them to the creators themselves to actually like put in on the to your point about like the
No,
platform native, or this is for like frames
no.
and stuff?
This is once the creator submits their
Yeah,
30-second voiceover video, we take it and we make at least one variation that uses a holiday headline.
gotcha. Right. So basically it feels like in summary, if we like just think about everything we just said about how what we've talked about kind of interact with holiday specifically, really what it is like create a bunch of great evergreen and then slap some holiday headlines.
Yeah.
And that's the extent to which you want holiday to even play a role in the creative,
Yeah, that's
right?
really it. I mean, you utilize your branded ad production
Mhm.
sources for sale ads. Those are cheap, much quicker turnaround. You can make
Yeah.
them the same day if you need. Like it's this type of asset that you should be really thinking, okay, what if this ad is performing and getting a ton of volume, what are all the ways I can avoid turning it on, making sure it stays on?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it plays into with this thing that we say every year, which is that your evergreen ads are going to be your best performers over
Yeah.
Black Friday anyway. And this is a great way.
Yeah, always.
Right. Don't fix it if it ain't broke, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But cool. All right. Well, anything else that you want to hit on this? Anything else you think the folks should know?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I hope this was valuable. And if anyone else wants to chat on the side, I'm always here to help.
That's right. Yeah. So you can check us out, commonthreadco.com, hit the hire us button, let us know you're interested in creator content for this upcoming holiday season. And Adrianne will take it over for you and also maybe even make some videos, because you are also a content creator extraordinaire yourself, which is part of the reason you have such great perspective into the side of the content creator. So check it out, folks. Yeah. And I think we'll leave it at that. Appreciate you all listening, and we'll talk to you next week. See ya.
See you next week.